The release of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes brings the fourth film in Wes Ball's filmography, so it's time to find out who is the new leader of this new kingdom. Welcome to Cinema, where we focus on a film. I'm Josh, this is Simply Cinema. Let me know around comments below what you think of Wes Ball as a director, how you would rank his films from his least favorite to your favorite, and everything ever in between. Make sure to like this video if you enjoy it, subscribe when you're ready to join in this film culture community where we talk about films and the love of cinema as a whole. But going right into it, in last place we have Maze Runner, The Scorched Trials, one that is particularly less compelling than the rest of the Maze Runner trilogy. What it all has to offer doesn't really build up to something that's good. It has underdeveloped characters, and while it has some good action sequences, compelling nature to the mystery of what it's building up to, and having a clear sense of direction to where it's leading to, it ultimately doesn't have the great payoff or build up of these characters as a whole that makes them more intriguing, more enticing to see why they are doing what they're doing, their motives, and everything that flows in throughout. Having the secrecy of different camps that builds up a great environment, but having less of a great setting as a whole. And coming in number 3, we have Maze Runner: The Death Cure, one that isn't particularly the most exciting either for the nature of where it's going, but I have very mixed reactions on it because it's more entertaining than its predecessor that I mentioned, but it doesn't have all the big shebang moments that really works wonders to these underdeveloped characters that's still progressives and has the answers that you need for the ending of this franchise, but doesn't always have the great payoff and has the Mission Impossible sort of aesthetic to some of its action missions, and I don't think that's particularly where they are trying to lead into the direction of this film, because there's a bunch of teenagers and these adults, and especially in the first mission, they're going about doing this one mission that has perfect timing with all of these quick train sequences, trying to stop that, or having people in a certain set position that's way too convenient for the nature of the obstacles that you all have been throughout. And while it has a great setting with all of these different diverse cultures, with the desert, with the jungle, and as also within the city, where that leads up the film makes it at least a lot more engaging than what we had before. But there's a sense of predictability throughout the film that feels cliche to many moments, where you can see once this scene is happening, you're gonna end up in one place, and even when it becomes unpredictable, it doesn't always land in the right place with its emotional moments that makes it less impactful for a film as a whole. And coming in number 2, we have The Maze Runner, one that I enjoy as a whole for the nature of the mystery. Once you get set into this world with this boy that has no idea what you're going on, you're set into this culture that builds up gradually, and while it isn't thrilling throughout, it has the great progression that you want for this natural environment, and you feel trapped in the confines of this environment, just like the boys themselves, not knowing what's going on in the outside world, not knowing why they're trapped in there, and so you have a great sense of the mystery that is locked in with the boys themselves, having these different dynamics between the characters, different arguments to staying within the maze versus trying to escape, and how all that works with the natural fantasy and adventure element that they have with it, having these aliens within the maze, and knowing there's someone controlling from the outside world, and how you get certain answers along the way. And while these characters aren't developed as a whole, you get enough from their motives and different compelling moments that makes this film work as a whole, based on the pure simplicity that this film has to offer without knowing what the rest of the franchise had to offer before it. And that leaves at number 1, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, one that's compelling for the nature of everything that it has to offer, becoming interesting by the build-up, and offers something fairly familiar but also fresh at the same time for this franchise, going in these different directions, having talking humans, but also doing decades later after what we got in Caesar's trilogy, and having the questions of culture and taking the tides away, basically creating this Proxima Caesar that has a twisted version of what Caesar was all about, while also having this culture with the main character Noah living in a society that didn't know about the past or wasn't taught about the past of what Caesar was all about and how they got to be in the world they are today, and how that builds up within his character and the confines of all of the narrative, everything you have with the trust, whether the question of should humans and apes ever be able to interact is such a good one for what the nature of the story has for this narrative as a whole, making it intriguing throughout. And while it isn't thrilling, it's not huge in its spectacle, it has a good amount of narrative moments, a good setting throughout the jungle and the beach, and all of these different traps that make you question certain things about the humans, about the apes, and whether something is right or wrong, because there is some right and wrong within some of the motives and reasoning behind Proxima Caesar, Noah, and everyone in between that makes them compelling enough characters that makes this set up something that leads to a lot of possibilities for the future of this franchise. And so that's just my ranking of Wes Ball's filmography, from my least favorite to my favorite. Let me know down in the comments below how you would rank his films, what you think of him as a director. Make sure to like this video if you enjoy it, subscribe if you're already to join in the film culture community where we talk about the love of cinema as a whole. Thank you for watching. Be sure to do yourself a favor and go watch a movie.